my high score on Jaws is about 1.45, 1.5 billion, in that range, billion and a half. And I consider myself a pretty average player. So if I can Jaws, so can you. And I'm going to go over some of the ways that I managed to get those points. And I would love to hear from people who might have better strategies, better ways to rack up the points. I know the common answer is going to be just play better. But how? How do we play better? That's the question, right? So. Anyways, we'll get into that in just a second here. A couple of updates from the Midlife Arcade. The color DMD for Lethal Weapon 3 has been ordered, and that's coming soon, but I think it's coming from Australia. So who the heck knows when it's going to get here, how it's going to get here, and what's going on. Let's start with the modes. So this is going to look a little complicated. But this first mode here is Scars. It's kind of the most common mode to just end up in. It's hit at the center ramp. And, you know, a lot of the time if you are throwing away a shot, you're trying to do a bailout shot, you're going to end up a lot of times on the center ramp. Or if, you're trying for anything, you could just end up in the center ramp. It's just very, very easy to hit. From both flippers, actually, if you're if you aim correctly. So the way I've laid this out, the red arrow is the first shot, the blue arrows are the second shots that you got to clear, then the yellow arrows, then the green arrow, then the purple arrows. So it's a clear the shot sharpshooter mode. If you hit any of the posts, your score goes down, and it's a pretty high scoring mode though if you don't do that, because you can rack up points by using your machete, which I'll talk about a little bit later. But primarily, this is one of the higher scoring modes, especially if you actually are a sharpshooter and just nail all of them. Sometimes you do that and you feel like one of the gods of pinball. Most of the time, you end up breaking some shots and just getting pissed off at the mode. One of the things I'll say right now though is I actually don't really care for the modes. It's not that I don't care for them, I should say, actually, because they are actually a whole lot of fun. But if I'm looking for points, there's only a few modes that I will actually put myself through. And the reason for that is it's the modes that I know I can beat. And by completing a mode, you get plus 1x to your machete. So that score multiplier can be incredibly valuable later on. For specific shots that we'll talk about. But that's Scars. It's a sharpshooter mode. I only end up in it accidentally because bricking shots brings the score down, and bricking shots in Jaws also means, it's Drain City. It's not like Jurassic Park where you can just brick all day and keep saving yourself. You brick in Jaws and it's probably headed towards the outlane. And if you don't have your life ring set up or the ability to nudge the table like a monster, you're going to lose the ball. So anyways, that's Scars. And the next one used to be one of my least favorite modes, but is now absolutely one of my favorites, which is Pond Attack. All you do is shoot the fishing reel all day long. Now, yes, the modes to the center, left, and far left can actually boost your score. But, I mean, the thing is, it's not a very high scoring mode. No matter what, I've tried hitting all those shots and then hitting the reel as hard as I can, and you don't necessarily score very high. But what's nice about it is once you get the reel shot down, and that's why I used to hate it, the reel shot itself is not necessarily the most pleasant shot in the game, especially when you're learning. But once you get the reel shot down, it only takes three solid hits, and you're done. Then the shark fin pops up, you hit that, plus 1x to your machete, and boom, you're out of the mode. So that's absolutely fantastic. If you're good at hitting that reel shot, you're good in the flow, just rip that thing all day long, and you'll have some extra points, and you'll have plus 1x on your machete, which is a nice little bonus that I think is worth it for that mode. The next mode is Raft Attack. That I'm going to cover. I actually think this is the funnest mode in the game. Basically, the way that it works is the wave ramp shot and the quince shack shot, a far right orbit shot. Those are both lit, and when you hit them, the shark fin pops up. And you can either try and boost how many points there are for the shark fin by hitting one of the other lit shots, which I believe are the far left orbit shot, or far left shot. It's not really an orbit, and the center ramp shot, the 180 ramp. But you don't really need to do that. The quickest way to get through the mode is just to hit one of the two shots and then just boom, pop the shark fin. You do that 3 times, Bob's your uncle, and shark fin pops up again. This time on the far left, it starts moving over just like all the other modes when it ends. Bash it once and +1x to your machete. So you'll notice the theme here. That's one of the ways that I managed to boost my points. And there are going to be you can find videos of people specifically. Pinball, I think, is what it is. If I mess that up, I'm so sorry. I'll have to fix it in post. But that dude, I watch him just to gawk at how good some people are at pinball. But as a regular, everyday 6-pack American, this is a strategy that I use. And so, let's see. The next mode is Beach Panic. I think Beach Panic is a very attractive mode because it's fairly easy. It started at the wave ramp shot, which I've shaded into white and red because it's an alternating shots mode. So in other words, you hit one shot, every other shot on the playfield is lit. You can't hit the same shot you just hit, but you can hit any other shot on the playfield and it will score you points. You do that, I believe, 5 times. And then the wave ramp will start flashing white and yellow, or white and red rather, and that's that. Then you hit that, shark fin pops up, and you just pop that for the +1x to your machete. I actually don't use this mode very often. The fact that you can hit any shot just gives me blinking light syndrome, and I start shooting everywhere, and I will almost certainly drain every time this comes out. Not to mention, on the Pro, which I have, every time you start the mode, you hit the wave ramp, and 9 times out of 10, you're going to complete that shot, come down over to the mini flipper, and I can never resist going for the shark fin, or going for one of the quick shots at that point, which is another, incredibly important way to get points in the game and also get gear, which now is, how you unlock the Great White. So we'll actually talk about bounties in a whole nother video, because bounties are their own thing, and until I get absolutely good at them, I don't want to discuss strategy for them, because I ain't that good. I've only captured a couple of sharks, and I've got nowhere near capturing the Great White. And if you've watched my streams, you've probably seen that. And if you've watched my streams, I'm surprised. The last mode here, or yes, I think that's the last. This is the last mode. It started at the left orbit shot, which I do in quotes because it's not really an orbit. It dumps it back down around the left, quicker than all hell. It started there, and the post pops up, and you get a video before it starts, so that's always nice. And it is an alternating shots mode entirely. So I believe the first shot is the two most right shots, and then you have the center shot and far left shot lit. So in other words, you're hitting different sides of the screen until the actual you get to the point in the video mode where the video portion where the attack starts happening, and the woman in the beginning of the movie is being dragged around under the water and grabs onto the buoy, and all hell's breaking loose. At that point, everything's flashing kind of a teal and white. You can hit anything there. I believe what that does is it reduces the number of shots you need on the next portion of the mode, which is the shot is actually roaming. So at that point, it's flashes at one point, then moves over to the next, then moves over to the next, and you got to hit it while it's there before it's gone, because otherwise you get nothing for that. And that part of the mode is kind of a son of a bitch. But the one nice thing about it is that this is a pretty high scoring mode. The the whole playfield gets dark, as I have illustrated here for you in my super low-tech, low-budget version of showing you strategy. But the field gets super dark, so it is incredibly challenging when you first start doing this to hit practically anything, because judging your shots, especially if they have the black rubbers on your flippers, at least for me, that makes it almost damn near impossible to judge my shots the way that I was when I first started playing. So you got to get just really comfortable with every shot on the board, and then once you have that down, this is a great mode because it's fairly high scoring. You can come out of it with at least a few $100 million if you play it right. And especially if you do it later in the game and you have your machete ready, that's at some point during it, that can come in real handy. So that's Night Swim. But what I've been focusing on lately, more than the modes themselves, and in fact I pretty much only get into the modes when I accidentally bash the shark, and then I will pick one of the modes that I do like. So Night Swim, Raft Attack, Pond Attack. One of those three is what I'll generally choose, depending on my mood. But for now, what I'm really focused on is Jaws Multiballs, because by the time you get to Jaws Multiball 3, you've put up a ton of points. And usually completed some other modes that I'm about to talk about. But by the time you get there, you're looking at some serious points. Now the first one, not so much. The first one's kind of a booger, and usually you just get to it to get through it. If anyone out there actually does complete it and can prove to me that there's a ton of points in there, I will bow down to you and stop doing what I'm doing and try and complete the mode when I get there. But for now, I just get through it. And then Jaws Multiball 2 is much more lucrative, and Jaws Multiball 3 is just insanely lucrative. So that's what I'm going for. And then, of course, that's the way you complete that is by bashing the chum bucket, and then when that happens, you'll get 3 roaming shots, sometimes 2 roaming shots, depending on how far up you are, and Jaws Multiball 1, 2, or 3. And the roaming shots are equal to adding some chum to the water. Bashing the chum bucket will also give you chum. And for Jaws Multiball 2 and 3, you actually have to hit the chum bucket a number of times before it will even start the mode, which is kind of a booger, because bashing anything on the Pro can lead to an instant drain. Those are very unsafe shots, but it's actually, the chum bucket's manageable. The shark itself, another reason I don't go for modes, the shark itself is a real booger. So, yeah, and then once you're in Jaws Multiball, they're each different, but they're pretty much playing the same on a theme, right? You do something to activate shots, and then you bash the chum bucket for an add-a-ball. And the first multi-ball is just hit the shots. They're all lit up red. You hit 3 of them, and then out of the 3 you hit, a random one turns red and yellow. You hit that one. That's a jackpot. I believe you do that 5 times, and then it's 5 times, and then the super jackpot's going to be at the shark. For Jaws Multiball 2, it's a switch hit mode, so the fish reel spinner's good, but the spinner on the left orbit or far left shot is the best, because you're just, every time that thing rotates, you're going to get a switch hit, and that'll bump you up to the point where there's a jackpot lit. You keep hitting those 5 times, and then you can collect your super jackpot at the shark, and that's super lucrative if you can get all the way to the end of it, which is a lot of fun actually. And then Jaws Multiball 3 is just hit shots and then hit the shark and just collect points. Do whatever it tells you. You'll get tons of points. Just keep doing it. And so that's, the multi-balls are what I'm really focused on these days. And then my overall strategy for the entire game, and what gets me the absolute most points, is the beach closures. So those are done by hitting the posts, which again can be somewhat dangerous until you figure out how to hit them. But by hitting those, especially if you collect the binoculars early on, you'll fill up the individual lanes. You'll see next to the arrows there are kind of 3 orange dots in each lane. And by hitting those posts, you fill the lanes up. And if they have all 3 lit, the next time you hit that shot, you will start the beach closure. And that's a hurry up where you basically are just rushing and rushing. You know, get the ball back and shoot it there. But if you have boosted your machete and you can get to it quickly, and then you can complete the shot, you can get 3 to 5x on, 20 million or more, and get gigantic points. I've seen people close them for over $1 billion, because every time you close a beach, you get a percentage of those points added to your next area. So by the time you get to the end, your points are huge. And also by the time you get to the end, you get to pick between one of the two mini wizard modes of either search or rescue, which I actually don't have slides for tonight, but we'll go into on another video. But search and rescue are different types. They're very different modes. Rescue is basically another sharpshooter mode where you're just hitting every shot you can, because the beachgoers are disappearing from each shot. It's a timed mode. And then search is actually my favorite of the two. It's a whole lot of fun. Although I did actually beat rescue the other day, and that was, feeling like a serious pinball wizard, or pinball god over here. That's all it takes for me to get me out of bed in the morning. But with search, you hit any of those posts that are outlined right here, or the chum bucket. One of the fin will pop up in a random location. Actually, it's not really random. It starts left and then moves further right along the playfield each time, which is the intention is to make the shot harder. You do that 5 times, and then you collect your super jackpots at the shark, and then you get your victory laps. The nice thing about that mode, though, is that when you start, both far right and left lanes are lit orange, and if you clear those lanes by hitting them successfully, you get an add-a-ball. And then each time you do that, there are more lanes lit that if you clear, you get an add-a-ball. So if you keep one eye on the add-a-balls while you're also completing the modes, it's very hard to fail at that mode, because by the time you get 4 or 5 or even 3 balls out on the playfield, you can just be spraying them at the shark fin, and it just, it takes nothing. You spray it at the shark fin, one of them's going to hit the fin, the other two are probably going to hit posts or the chum bucket, and so then you relight the shot with the shark fin popping back up, and then you do it again and again, rinse and repeat. It is actually a whole lot of fun, and one of the things I look forward to most when I'm playing. So yeah, that's my first little walkthrough. By the time, like I said, by the time you get to Jaws Multiball 3, you've probably gone through one of the mini wizard modes and closing all the beaches, which means you've got a ton of points you're already sitting on, probably at least like 700 million. If you get to Jaws Multiball 3 with 700 million points, you're walking away with $1 billion, unless you really screw the pooch, right? I mean, that's you have to just give up at that point. You'd have to lose hope in the universe or something that would keep you from absolutely wanting to complete the mode. But anyways, this has been a whole lot of fun. I think most of you are probably either sobbing in your beer or celebrating as a result of political altitude and multitude last night, or you're having fun playing pinball, or you're having fun watching pinball over on Flipping Out, because I stupidly scheduled this at the exact same time they were doing something. And when it comes to popularity, I just don't blame you for going over there. Hey, Moat, how's it going? It's good to see you, brother. No, I'm not giving up. I've been here for half an hour explaining Jaws. People are gonna have to watch the damn replay if they want to figure out how to play. I gave away all my secrets. They're all out there in the ether at this point. I did my duty and due diligence. Anyways, folks, if you're watching this at all, yeah, you got here a bit late, but you know what? You know what though? You got here, and that makes you absolutely special in my book, because I think so far you're like one of 3, and you're the only one to actually speak to me, so that makes me stoked. How's that X-Men treating you, brother? That's a real catch that you picked up over there. Yeah, for those who don't know, Moat picked up an X-Men that I'm absolutely jealous of. I think it's one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. But anyways, I just want to say I appreciate anybody who watches. Yeah, I'm super glad for you, brother. That's just one of the coolest things absolutely ever. I'm super jealous. Um, but this is Lawrence Adams from the Midlife Arcade saying, may all your scores be high and may all your balls be extra. Have a good night.